this isn't a Shelby Cobra, and that might not matter. Because for many of us, this car isn't about authentication stamps. It's about a dream made real with 2 hands, late nights, and a stubborn heart.
Today, we step back to the origins of AC, trace the thunderbolt that was Shelby's V8 vision, look at what these cars are worth now, and why thousands choose to build the legend for themselves. Welcome back to 7 Spot. Today's story is all about making the impossible affordable, building your dream Cobra. Before we get started, take a moment to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell, because we're going deep into the world of home-built legends and the art of turning dreams into reality.
To understand replicas, you have to understand the myth. AC Sportscars were quietly brilliant, building lightweight sports cars in post-war Britain. The Ace was elegant and nimble, but modest on power. Across the Atlantic, Carroll Shelby had an outrageous idea. Take that featherweight British chassis and drop in a big American V8. The first cars were raw, Detroit Iron and Thunder, but they worked. They brought the 289, then the Wild 427, and with them a legacy that went from pit lane to legend. In 1965, Shelby's team toppled giants, taking the FIA World Manufacturers' Championship for GT manufacturers with the Shelby Daytona Coupe. Scarcity sealed the myth. Only a limited number of originals were built. The world fell in love with a shape and with the noise it made. But legends age, cars disappear into collections, and prices climb. Today, a genuine 1960s Cobra is a museum-grade artifact. Recent auction results show 427s trading well into the 7 figures, often 1.2 to 4.0 plus million US dollars, with exceptional history cars going higher. A well-documented 289 can still command high 6 to low 7 figures. For most of us, that's not a car. That's a lottery ticket. Replicas bridge the gap. A basic kit, chassis and body can start around $10,000 to $15,000. Step up to a more complete roller and you're in the $20,000 to $35,000 range before drivetrain. Professionally built turnkey replicas from known makers commonly list around $50,000 to $120,000, with show quality builds reaching $150,000 to $200,000. Still a serious commitment, but a fraction of an original. So, why build a replica? That's because building a replica is where the dream comes alive. What makes these replicas fascinating is not just their affordability, but how they're built. For decades, many UK-based Cobra replicas, like those from Dax, Pilgrim and Southern Roadcraft, use Jaguar XJ suspension components, front and rear. Builders would often bolt in the Jaguar's entire independent rear suspension cradle, complete with inboard disc brakes and a Salisbury differential, while the front received robust Jag wishbones and uprights. These parts were over-engineered, widely available in scrapyards, and gave replicas a reputation for durability and smooth road manners. Today, companies like Gardner Douglas, AK Sportscars, XCS Designs and Harper Sportscars are moving toward custom-designed suspension setups, shedding weight and sharpening handling to create a car that feels closer to a modern supercar while still capturing that 1960s charm. But the Jaguar-based Cobras remain a nostalgic favourite, representing an era when home builders could raid scrapyards to create something truly exotic. Behind every replica is a unique journey, each one reflecting a builder's passion, vision and choices. To capture this diversity, we'll hear from 3 very different voices in the Cobra world. First, Mike Shepherd takes us through his personal journey, sharing the why he decided to build a replica, the how long did it take, and the reasons why he will never sell. Then we'll meet Jose Windle, who speaks to his dad's decision to build an economy Cobra, the Pilgrim Sumo, and offers some handy advice on choosing your perfect Cobra kit. Finally, professional builder Chris Hollier offers a glimpse into his own bold vision for a future Cobra build, showing us what's possible when experience and artistry collide.
Good morning, one and all. Well, as promised, John, it's a quick walk around of my Cobra Replica. It's a Fiero factory Euro 427. I bought the kit in September of 2000. And started building it the day after I got it back to the unit. 14 weeks later, it was SVA'd, as was then, registered and on the road. Did it all myself, including paint and trim. Had it for 24 years now on the road. Been to Spa 2004 and the Le Mans Classic twice. It's so much fun. A couple of times when funds have been a bit short, thought, oh, I'm gonna have to sell it. So you take it out for one last drive, come back with the biggest grin on your face, think there's no way on earth. I sell the kids first. Don't let them hear that. Anyway, why a Cobra? Well, when I was about 7 or 8 years old, my dad took me to Alton Park. And what was racing in the sports car races? Only AC Cobras. My dad told me the history of them. But as soon as they fired one up, oh my God, that V8 sound, I was hooked. So I stood there watching the race and these Cobras are thundering down the straight at Alton Park. Those V8s howling. Oh God, I've got to have one of those. Anyway, I had to wait about 40 years before I could afford to build one. I haven't looked back since. I originally built it with a hard top, but it got very little use. So it just sat in the garage. Eventually sold it to a fellow member of the club. I got a soft top for it to go to Spa back in 2004. That's in the boot at the moment, still gets used. And had the tonneau cover made 3 or 4 years ago and leave that on most of the time. It's really handy. You can put all sorts of stuff on the seat and not worry about it. So there she is. Done some 40,000 miles in it since I built it. It's had a couple of little mishaps. The Fiero design for the clutch cable was very poor. Consequently, 6 failures later, I decided to put it onto hydraulic. And haven't looked back since. It's powered by a 3.5 litre Rover V8 out of Police Black Mariah, of all things. The engine done very little mileage. It was absolutely immaculate inside. So it's in there, runs sweet as a nut. I've upgraded it a little bit with an Edelbrock Performer and a 500 carb 4-barrel. I've painted it 4 times. It was originally burgundy, which looked lovely and classy. Had it like that for a couple of years, and I decided to go the Shelby blue and white stripes. Had it like that for quite a few years, and I did it metallic black with metallic silver stripes with a bit of flaking. That looked good. Left it like that for about 10 years, and then I decided to do it solid black with the white stripes, because basically it was getting stone chipped. Anyway, it's raining now, so I'm going to put it away. Cheers, guys.
The Pilgrim Sumo. One example of many kit car reinterpretations of the famous AC Cobra 427. In times where buying kit cars is a rare decision and the market choice gets limited as the years go by, mostly by laws devised to stop people building their own sports car for emissions and health and safety reasons, depending on where you live, of course. Yet this famous British brand still lives on, producing mainly the Mark III Sumo and their Speedster kit. The days of recycling an old car to build a new kit car are nearly gone. Rare are the occasions where that is still possible and or feasible. My father took on this car purely with the sake of having a project. His main objective wasn't to recreate a perfect copy of the AC Cobra, but to build his own cheap, economical sports car with a classic 60s shape and giving it his own stamp. One day, the Kit Car magazine came into his hands, and lo and behold, the Pilgrim Sumo SEV Special Economy version appeared. It was heavily advertised throughout it. Coincidentally, around the same time he was discovering kit cars, my grandmother had given up on importing her old holiday car to Portugal. A left-hand drive 1975 full Cortina XL 1.6 litre. Dad saw an opportunity in the old barge and he took the plunge. Took him a year and a half to build, and he will say that it's a proper learning curve into mechanics, bodywork and craftsmanship. The Pilgrim isn't for the faint-hearted, since it requires quite a lot of preparation before you even start putting it all together, but the manual is very clear and instructive. Our advice when looking for a Cobra is to do your research thoroughly before you dive into the deep end. So ask yourself what you want from it. There are a few kit brands still around, and each one gives you a different type of Cobra. If you want an almost exact replica within Europe, probably get a Hawk or a Dax, but be prepared to sell a few organs throughout the build. If you want to go on track days or racing, get a Gardner Douglas. Dad chose the Pilgrim for the strength, safety, longevity and value for money when it was cheap. It is also the only Cobra on the market where they offer a properly galvanized, over-engineered chassis, a very heavy-skinned fiberglass body, plus many of the items are finished in stainless steel instead of chrome. We don't recommend buying unfinished projects due to the risk of missing parts or even unfixable mistakes done by the previous owners. If you do buy a complete road legal second-hand Cobra, make sure to study it well and see if it's put together properly. If you're clueless, bring a trustworthy mechanic along with you to survey the car. Other than that, if you want an incredibly personalized car, go for it. They are showstoppers regardless of engine size. Take the risk before it's too late.
Just mentioned Cobras. We're with Chris because we're going to be talking mainly about Cobras. So, welcome, Chris. How are you? You all right?
Hi, John. I'm fine, thank you. Apart from a snotty cold, all good. Good to talk to you again.
Yeah, and what's the weather doing? All right over your way?
Yeah, you should move to Norfolk, mate. It doesn't rain here very often. It's lovely out here at the moment. Well, it's not lovely. It's not raining, but it's still nice and warm, not too windy. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now, you're a builder of many cars, kit cars, and specials as well with your Hookster. But you've also, I didn't know about this till fairly recently, you've actually also got a Cobra that you're building.
Yeah.
And quite a bit of history behind that as well. So tell us how you came about this Cobra, because it wasn't quite by accident, but it kind of like was, yeah?
It sort of was. I'd only just started as the editor at Kit Car magazine. And I was very much of the opinion we wanted to be a magazine that was about building the cars, not just talking about them, and walking the walk rather than just talking the talk. And I found a part-finished Cobra project somewhere, probably over your neck of the woods from what I remember, over towards Gloucester way. And I went to pick it up, and it was an unknown fiberglass Cobra replica body on an old Scimitar SS1 chassis. Really
Ooh.
horrible little, not the Scimitar that we all know of nowadays as the SE5s, the SE6s. This was a little tiny wedgy 1970s mid-engine thing. And the bloke had done the most appalling engineering job. It was no money. I paid like £800 for the body and the chassis. So
Yeah,
I
probably
knew I
worth
was
more in
in
scrap. Yeah.
So I got it home, took the body off, thinking, well, you know, I'll just keep that part because the body wasn't so bad. Cut the chassis up the same day because I didn't want anybody seeing that level of engineering at my workshop, just in case they thought, oh, what the hell's going on here?
What
So yeah,
have you been doing? Yeah.
so the angle grinder came out the same day and chopped it into pieces and put it in the skip because it just had to go.
Yeah.
So then I approached Dax because they're not a million miles away from me, about an hour and a half's drive away. And at the time they were doing a budget, it's like a starter chassis. And when I explained to them I was going to do it as a magazine build, they said, well, okay, we'll do you a great price on it. And they sold me a complete chassis for £995, which was an astonishing price. And I said, well, okay, I'm going to build it as a magazine feature car, and I'm going to try and do it all on a fairly tight budget to prove that you can still build a Cobra without spending £100,000 on it. And then they said to me, well, we'd really like it if you put a Dax body on it as well.
That
Because
must have
then
been,
it'll be...
yeah, that must have been the time where Gary Sanders was there and Duncan
Right. Yeah.
Cooper. Yeah.
They were both there. And this was about 2017. So at the time I said, okay, absolutely. So I managed to get a body and chassis for about £2,500, which was an excellent starting point. This is not the camber compensating front suspension, it's just the standard XJ6 stuff on the front. And the XJ40 rear end, which uses their Dion rear suspension, which is a nice piece of design.
Short and drive shafts on that, wasn't it? Or wasn't it?
They did them on an exchange basis, So it wasn't going to be a super high-tech racing car style. This was going to be a nice, usable road car. So I serialised the first, I think, 6 episodes went in the magazine. And it was coming along nicely, and then unfortunately the magazine publisher pulled the plug, and that was the end of Kit Car magazine.
Right.
Now, because I was still working, it had to take a back seat because it was my project, and the only thing that was funding it was what I was doing elsewhere
for the magazine. Yes.
In the background. Now I got a long way with it. I got it painted, I got the interior trim done, and the engine sitting in it. And then it just went on hold.
Not actually far off then. No,
far off. And I'm going to try and dig it out again in the next month. I think month to 6 weeks. I've got a bit of a gap coming up in the schedule, and see if I can try and get it IVA'd for next spring and get it out there and working.
Brilliant.
But one of the things that makes it a different project, I love the Cobra shape. I think it's a really pretty car.
I was going to ask you why Cobra.
But I don't think. It's a replica, it's not a real one. So therefore there's no rules. You can actually build what you want with it. It doesn't have to be blue, white stripes, Hallibrands and side pipes. I've nothing against that. If that's what you want to build as your car, please go ahead and do it and thoroughly enjoy it. But because I've got the facilities to do something a bit different, and I've always been a bit weird like that anyway, I wanted to do something.
I've seen your Huckster.
I just wanted to do something that was going to push the edges a little bit. So it started a train of thought that what would have happened? ACs were building the AC Ace before Carroll Shelby ever got involved. Really nice car, straight 6 engine, and the Carroll Shelby was what made them put the V8 in it.
Yes. And
I was wondering what would happen if Carroll Shelby wasn't a success, because it's been well documented that he was running it on a wing and a prayer. He had one car that was painted 5 different colours over the course of 5 months.
I do remember that for different shows. Yeah.
And he was literally squeezing the edges. Now, the Hercott brothers, running ACs at the time, knew that putting a V8 in the Cobra was a nice way forward. But what if this Mr. Shelby, the chicken farmer, is all full of wind and nonsense? He's not going to go anywhere. Now, they were all involved in the same sort of social fraternity that used to come up to Holcombe Hall, not far from me, up on the Norfolk coast, for game shoots. And at the time they were up there, and the lead designer for BRMs was there on one of the shoots, and he was talking about this new aluminium Buick engine and they'd been asked to do the productionising on for Rovers because Rover couldn't do it in-house. So they thought they'd get BRM to do it for them, and they'd been given about 6 engines to change over and see if they could make it more of a British focused engine. So they wanted SU carbs on it, they wanted a Lucas distributor on it, all the sort of things to change it over from a purely American engine. Now, it wouldn't take an awful lot of brain power to think that they're having a chat over a few whiskies after dinner that a lovely lightweight aluminium V8 in the AC Ace would be a great combination.
Past the port. Yeah.
Absolutely. This is the way a lot of these things happen, isn't it? It's discussions in various places. So I thought, right, I wonder if I can actually build that car, the one that was intended but never actually materialised. And what I found out during the course of research is actually there were 2 AC Ace rolling chassis given to BRMs to use as test platforms for the Rover V8 before it went to Rovers in 1962-63. So I thought, okay, now this is really interesting. We could actually make the car that never was into a car that could be now, and try and do the things that were possible in early 60s that would have made it into a really good grand touring car.
Maybe put a bit of a twist on it as well.
Absolutely. Obviously got to be a manual gearbox because nobody would use an auto in there. Now, the other thing they found with the Cobras when they were racing them is the angle of the windscreen reduced their top speed by about 15 miles an hour when they were going down the high speed rates.
It was quite upright. I did hear a story that some of them they deliberately left quite loose, where they attached them to at speed it would kind of like push back down a little bit. I don't know how true that is.
Was it Elvington? We took the big block Cobra for a bit of a day as well, and I think some years before, it was Gary, I think, going down the M11 in a Kearns Richards V12 Cobra that we had, which sounded absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it was like an offshore power motor, this thing. And it come in back after going down the M11. Don't know what speed it was, but it was probably just a shade over 70, I would think.
Had to put another figure in front of
that. And the centre stay fell off the mirror. He couldn't get it back on. I'm thinking, what's happened? And realised the amount of pressure that was on the screen was actually bending the screen back. And then you sort of look at what holds the screen on, and it's just some brass.
I can say for sure that Cobras in the day, when they said they did 200 mile an hour, it certainly weren't with a windscreen on. I think you'd be wearing it.
And the thing is, with the Cobra, the air gets in the back of them as well, and they actually get very light. So we was up at Bruntingthorpe, and I said to Gary, I said, what sort of top speed can we do? He said, I wouldn't push it much over 180, the windscreen. And I what was that chap's name? It was the Pen Roberts.
His mate, I can't remember his name now.
He had like a handlebar moustache. He was like this kit car reporter, and he used to. So I said, well, bring your camera with us, and we'll have a bit of fun down. And I think we was just about 180 in the Cobra, and it was just under 4,000 RPM with the big block.
That was the 502 one with an 8 litre Chevy in it. That was a lovely car.
Well, I don't know those details, but I have seen quite a few in-period pictures of some of the modifications that were done, and they laid the screen back by about another 15 to 20 degrees. Makes the car look a lot different, but increased the top speed dramatically. So I thought, okay, there's another angle I can use. And just trying to bring all these elements together to turn it into not a Le Mans winning replica, because that's been done to death. Let's try and see if we can do something a little bit more creative with this. And again, I'm not criticising anybody that wants a Le Mans replica. They're great cars. I really get the whole Cobra scene, but I wanted to be that little bit left field and see what else I can do with it.
This is just what you want to do. It's your car. You want to put your own touches on it. I don't blame you. Yeah.
So I've got the 3.5 Rover in there. I'm running downdraft BMW V8 carburetors, which look a little bit like Weber's or Delorto's downdraft ones. I managed to find a company that does aluminium casting, and I've got a pair of BRM rocker covers cast with the Rover base flange on them, so it actually states BRM on the top of them now.
Oh wow!
So yeah, I've used all these little tricks. I've made my own modified steel wheels out of Jaguar wheels by reversing the centres, so they look like huge, great wide wheels, but all it is a standard width 7J Jag wheel with a centre turned round, so it gives it a really deep dish. Then I've made some 3-eared spinners to go on with a little cover plate to cover the wheel nuts up.
Which is obviously after IVA, after IVA they will go on.
Definitely after IVA. I think the windscreen will go on after IVA as well, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, so I'm just to try and make it this little bit different. But now that I've officially retired, I've got some of the backlog out of the way now, and I'm hoping that over the course of this winter into next spring, I can get the thing up and running. My son, my oldest son James, is an absolute dab hand with electronic fuel injection. So he's going to help me get the whole engine up and running and stick it on an Emerald ECU. And so even though they look like carbs, they're actually throttle bodies off this BMW V8. So it'll look like 2 rows of Webers with the oval pancake filter on top. So it should, and there's no reason why it shouldn't. Nice lightweight car. It should give me 30 to the gallon. It should give me blistering performance in a little lightweight thing like that.
Yeah, you should be okay on emissions as well. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, because we can tune it. It's quite normal to have a 4-way adjustable switch on the fuel injection system. So you can have MOT/IVA settings, normal road driving, sprint and hill climb stuff, and then banzai at the end, so that you can actually choose which one you want.
Yeah, we've got I think we've got 3 maps on our car with the bike engine. Yeah. I mean,
and you can't get that level of adaptability with carburetors. You just can't. And as nice as they are, you can't play the same games.
The Cobra's legend will always belong to the 1960s, to AC and Shelby, to grid girls and pit boards, to a racing era we can't bring back. But legends don't live in glass cases. They live wherever someone keeps the flame, in single-car garages and crowded workshops, on back roads before sunrise, in the grins shared at a fuel stop. Replica or not, the spirit is the same. Light, loud, honest. It asks for your hands, your patience, your courage, and then it gives you everything. If the originals are chapters written in ink, replicas are the new pages written in grease, friendship and laughter. And maybe that's the point. The myth didn't end in '67. It idles, breathes and pulls right here in your very own Cobra, coiled and ready to strike. Thanks for watching. Every car has a story, and every builder is a hero in their garage. If you like stories about home-build heroes, hit the subscribe button, share with a friend, and join us next time for even more tales from the shed.